What does the shadow of distraction look like for a visionary innovator like yourself? It's pretty sneaky, this shadow. It's the spiritual equivalent of wandering into a pantry and looking for purpose. And in the process, you get stuck eating all the chips of confusion instead, because they're packaged in pretty packaging that distracts you. It makes you think, this will fill you up. This will complete you. This will make you feel better, whole, right. But if you zoom out and get a metaphysical perspective about this, you, as a visionary innovator, as a builder of unseen bridges, a sculptor of futures that maybe others can't quite grasp until they're already living in them, that you has this sneaky little shadow of distraction that shows up like that one friend who means well but keeps interrupting your genius download with TikTok reels and busy work and existential FOMO. Distraction impacts your ability to really love yourself. And that's the only way you can powerfully impact others, by loving yourself fully. And so distraction for the visionary entrepreneur, the visionary innovator who's here to build bridges, sculpt new futures. You'll get distracted by confusion. You'll get distracted by wanting to avoid inner stillness, because you might be struggling with this fear that to be quiet, to be in the void, or the absence of noise, is to be entertaining all those inner demons telling you you're not enough. But this refusal to sit long enough in silence is robbing you of something much, much deeper. And that's the ability to hear your own depth, to really know yourself. You rob yourself of the intimacy of knowing what your gifts are. You fear the shadows, but in the silence, it's the gifts that really want to speak to you. Now, there may be shadow influences, there might be wounds that are happy that you're taking notice of them, because that means finally you can embrace them and return them to the light. That's why they're called shadow, after all. And these might be mental, emotional, spiritual themes, even physical, creating subtle distortions in you. But these distortions, they serve a larger purpose. They're the contrast. They're the catalyst to create movement, to stimulate greater substance emerging, the things you've been asking for, the desires you've been pining for. But the longer you stay in this fragmentation, it fractures self-love, and therefore it fractures all those ways you get to better know yourself, by just being still, by just being in the silence. There's nothing to fear in the void space of the absence of noise. Everything that enriches you is there. You see, those things you want to enrich your life, they're not found in what you do. They're found in what you're willing to be present with when you do nothing. Distraction keeps your finger on the fast forward button of your inner life, where you skip past the scenes that you think are uncomfortable, but they are actually the ones that catalyze your own genius, in the contrast, in the friction, in the shadow, in the discomfort. What you think is heartbreak is buried treasure. And you might feel your spark at times, but not your stillness. You might be called to do something to accelerate or accentuate or expand your spark, but all the while realizing that when you can just be still with it, let it speak to you, let it tell you how it wants to be expressed, you're missing out on all the ease of bringing the expansion you're asking for forth. Your true transmission of your greatness and the ease in which you can express that, it's all in the silence. It's all in the deeper resonance of the absence of doing, the absence of noise, the absence of overthinking. All of that distraction, the stillness you avoid, it keeps your impact kind of shallow. And that's too bad, visionary innovator, because you're here to rock people's worlds. And you can't do that if you're constantly holding yourself back from greater prosperity. Prosperity isn't fast. Prosperity isn't quantum leaps. It's flow. And when you're distracted, you cut off, you fracture flow. You get in the groove of one thing, and then some thought, some overthinking, some bit that echoes to you of unworthiness that you first thought long ago and keeps kind of instilling itself in your inner world on a repeat loop. That's not your truth. That's not who you are. And yet you listen to it. You pay attention to it. You put your focus and all of your awareness on it. And so that's what grows. That distraction grows. And distraction is like 1,000 micro leaks in your energetic pipeline. When you break up flow, it's hard to stay in alignment. You might be showing up, but are you dialed in? You might be building out services or offers. You might be engaging in creative projects. But are they tuned to the frequency of your true brilliance? You evolve through how you manage your attention to your preferred story of yourself. And if all your attention and focus is going on your unpreferred story of yourself, yes, even that inner monologue, that's your form of storytelling. Is it a drama that keeps you striving, forcing, hustling, and chasing? Or is it a quantum consciousness manifesto that you keep building out and adding to with more revelations about yourself over time? Because you're only going to find those revolutions and revelations in the stillness. When you're distracted, your energy is diluted, your magnetism weakens, your prosperity stream gets tangled in side quests. You avoid mastery at something, which is really what you're here to do, visionary innovator. You avoid mastery at something. That's a form of distraction too. Maybe bright, shiny objects cross your path and you think, no, this is it. This is the one. This is what I'm meant to do now. And you discount your ability to become a master at what you have been focusing on. And all this distraction keeps you in the energy of missing the thing that you came here to revolutionize. In the gene keys, the opposite shadow energy of distraction is enrichment. And this gets embodied when you step into compassionate leadership. That happens when you stop shifting from, thing to thing, going on to the next best thing. When you shift from chasing shiny things to being the gold, understanding I am the gold. When I am authentic to myself, something miraculous happens. Distraction becomes that call to catalyze something higher and better, to alchemize that energy into enrichment. Enrichment is the fertile field where your full presence meets the needs of others. That's service. That's visionary innovation. That's what you're here for. It's not about doing more. It's about becoming more nutritious to be around. You radiate substance, not noise. If your whole world is noise and a constant need to be in that noise, what do you think you're going to be radiating outward? to those who come in contact with your field. You're here for depth. You're here for meaning, not just motion for the sake of it. The motion needs to follow the energy of deep meaning, who you are, to be true to the kind of leader that you're meant to be, the one who empowers by being, not just being an example of a bunch of things you're doing. But this gift does get expressed through dynamic action, but only through who you are being first. The doings are incidental if you don't feel this being, this depth of the truth of who you are within first. This comes through trial and revelation, I call it, and the magic of authentic experimentation. To be a visionary innovator is to embrace trial and error, experimenting, being willing to go where others fear to tread. You lead not by having it all figured out, but by showing up real, stumbling glamorously, and being willing to narrate the journey with honesty and humor. That's what gives people permission to step into their own experimental brilliance. That's how you lead by example. And as a compassionate leader embodying enrichment instead of distraction, you turn mundane moments into meaning-laced transmissions. You bring depth to spaces where others just are skimming the surface. You live in such a way that your presence itself nourishes prosperity in your life and in everyone you touch. If this sounds good to you so far, I'm glad this is helping you. And I would love for you to respond in the comments. Enrichment. Just that single word in the comments to know that this reached you, this expanded you, this allowed you to receive this message in a positive light. From a place where you forgive yourself for what you didn't know before, but that you're ready to embrace compassionate leadership because it's the right thing for you and it's the right thing for the world. And as a parting gift, to activate this gift, to unravel this wound of distraction and activate the gift of enrichment, I'm going to leave you with some questions to journal on. And I truly hope that this message and this energy served you well today. And if you would like and even subscribe to this channel, I sure would appreciate it. So other visionary innovators like yourself can find me and find these messages to enrich them too. So here's some provocative questions to unravel the wound of distraction and activate the gift of enrichment. Where am I confusing stimulation for satisfaction? Where do we get those dopamine hits from? The dopamine hits that might hit really big, but they don't last. They don't bring lasting fulfillment or satisfaction. That's where we confuse stimulation for satisfaction. What am I constantly doing that secretly keeps me from facing what truly matters to me? If my presence were a meal, would it leave others nourished or needing a snack 5 minutes later? And finally, where am I afraid to pause? And what truths am I avoiding in the silence? Prosperity gets to feel like presence. Presence with you in the here and now. When you do that, how do you feel in your body? What kind of ease and relief settles in when you give yourself that gift of presence? Trust that. Trust the voice that whispers to you from the absence of the noise. And a final reminder, distraction is just a sign that you forgot how much power you hold when you're actually here, in the here and now. Come back home to yourself, dear one. Your gold is waiting. Thank you. And if you want to know more, you can check out all my details in the description of this video. Lots of love and blessings.